welcome to the Geek Legion of Doom. This is going to be a horror tag response video. Now, actually, a YouTuber called Forkable actually did a open tag where he got from someone else to ask 9 horror questions. And I'm going to actually add a 10th bonus question. And at the end of this video, where after I answer all the questions, I'm actually going to tag 9 fellow YouTubers who kind of have a horror connection, apart from one who I'm just going to throw in there just for fun, to answer the same series of questions. So let's get started with the questions. Number 1, what is the first horror film I saw? The first one I remember seeing was actually the original Creep Show. I was only a kid at the time, and I remember creeping downstairs and kind of watching it. My mum was watching it, you know, on the TV, and I kind of watched it through the crack of the door. So that was my first exposure to kind of horror movies at the time. My favourite horror film. This is easy because this is my favourite film of all time, let alone horror film, and that is Evil Dead 2. I much prefer it over the kind of the first one, and I still love the first movie. So Evil Dead 2 is by far and away my favourite horror movie. My favourite subgenre. This one is a little difficult because I kind of like a lot of subgenres, but this is going to be a specific one. If I had to pick one, it's going to be aquatic horror movies, things like shark movies or creature movies that come from the ocean depths, things like that. The last horror film to scare me, I don't really get scared in films, if I'm honest. I get the odd jump scare, but I don't really count that because any film can really do that. But the last film to make me feel a little bit kind of, oh, bloody hell, that's a bit uneasy, was the movie Borderlands, which is a British kind of found footage film, which is genuinely creepy, and it kind of genuinely made me feel a little bit uneasy. So I don't know if I'd say out and out scared, but it was it certainly had an effect on me. Favourite Scream Queen. I feel people who aren't maybe B-movie fans or horror fans may have a different meaning to this one, what a Scream Queen actually is. I'm going to say Julie Strain, because to me she's the kind of the quintessential Scream Queen. She's not just been in horror films, to be fair, but she's what I think of when I think of a Scream Queen. And there's lots. I mean, Lena Quigley. I will give a special mention to Brinky Stevens, because she's been in a lot of films that I've actually watched. But I think for me, Julie Strain is basically actually married to Kevin Eastman, co-creator of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and she would have made a great Wonder Woman. She's 6'1", she's kind of quite statuesque. You know, she would have made a fantastic Wonder Woman, obviously in her prime. She's a little bit older for it now though, and obviously not particularly well known. So Julie Strain is my pick for that one. Next one is a question I didn't really understand, if I'm completely honest, but a new concept in horror. I guess this is a meaning, you know, a different type of horror that you kind of more recently got into. For me, it's probably found footage. To be honest with you, for a long time I didn't like found footage. I kind of watched Blair Witch when it came out, and I was very underwhelmed by it, and kind of stayed away from the genre time, because I thought, man, it looks crap. You know, you'll see a split second or something, and that's going to be it. But then I watched Grave Encounters, which I really loved. I really love Grave Encounters movies, and that kind of got me into the genre a little bit more, which is relatively recent. I mean, we're talking a couple of years ago, but still, you know, I kind of have a bit more of an appreciation for the genre now. Favourite on-screen kill. This is going to be a bit of a cheat because there's many deaths in this scene, and this is going to be from the movie Brain Dead, which is known as Dead Alive in America, I believe. And this is going to be where Lionel basically kills loads of zombies in a room with a law, basically, and basically it's the most bloody scene. It's kind of a bit of a comedy scene, but at the same time, but it's possibly the most amount of blood I've ever seen on screen at any one time. Favourite series or franchise. Now, I was tempted to say The Evil Dead with this one, because obviously that's my favourite film, but I'm actually going to go say something else, because I don't want to mention the same franchise twice, and that is going to be the Fright Night franchise. Now, there has been the original 2 movies, then they remade the first one with Colin Farrell, and they called it Fright Night 2, but they kind of remade the first one again, but basically with a female vampire. But to be honest with you, I really only am talking about the original 2 movies. So that, to me, is my favourite horror franchise, Fright Night 1 and 2. And favourite horror director. I don't really have a particular director that I follow, if I'm honest. So the way I had to look at it is there are kind of bunch of films that I've liked that happen to have the same director. And this is going to go back, and this is going to be more of a B-movie answer, and I'm probably not going to pronounce his name right, but this is going to be Ted Nicolau, who is basically responsible, mainly I would say, for the Subspecies movies, although he's done a few others. He's done Terrorvision, so he's done Vampire Journals, which I really loved. So he's done a lot of kind of the straight-to-video B-movie horrors that came out in the 80s and 90s. I'll give a shout-out to James Wan as well, who is a kind of more recent horror director that I'm kind of quite liking. And my 10th bonus question is, what is the worst horror film that you have seen in the last couple of years? So we're talking maybe the last 3 years or so. So for me, this is going to be a 2013 movie called The Hospital, which I reviewed on this channel, and it's currently my lowest score ever. It's basically such an offensively bad film, really bad, really offensive to it. It's just rape scene after rape scene, very cheaply done, terrible directing, terrible acting, bad technical side, everything. Anyway, so I'm going to now reel off some fellow YouTubers. I'm going to tag you guys to answer this question. So the first one, these are all going to be horror YouTube channels aside from one. Brian Gatto, the B-Movie Avenger, also known as B is for Best Movies Reviews. Kelly Renee Miller, who is the kind of the non-horror one here, but I'm going to throw her under the bus. Madison Mayhem, Matt Loftus, Mr. Parker, who is a great horror channel, I have to say. Possessed by Horror, I think the name's Sarah. The Wicker Boy. And finally, the one I have to say I'm most interested to see what he's saying, because this guy is a real B-movie fan. Buckaroo Banzai, also known as Ballistic Blood Bullet. So I tag you guys to make a video, and I'll look forward to seeing your responses. I'm Leo from the Geek Legion of Doom. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.